I grew up in a small coastal town in the southwest of Ireland. It was such an idyllic and safe place to grow up that our parents gave us full freedom to roam around the village and the surrounding countryside unaccompanied. And let me tell you, my brother and I, we took full advantage of it. Keep in mind, this was decades before any social media. There was no Facebook, no Nintendo, no cell phones. In fact, there were only 4 telephones in our village at that time. The doctor, the school teacher, the post office, and the parish priest. And if you were lucky enough to have a television in your house, it was black and white, and there was only one channel, and it came on about 6 in the evening, and it was off the air at about 10 or 11. So we were always in the hunt for creative ways to entertain ourselves. We'd explored the ruins of an old castle in the village where there was supposed gold buried there hundreds of years ago. As you can tell by my attire, we didn't find any. There were shipwrecks down in the bay, and at low tide we'd be down there digging for hours, and we'd find old Danish coins, irregularly shaped wine bottles, parts of the ship's masts, and at ages 8 and 9, Larry and I had the reputation among our peers as being a right couple of Indiana Joneses. So it was no surprise to us that one day a classmate came to us with a proposition. Johnny Kane had stumbled upon a cave in a remote field on his father's farm, and he needed help exploring it. Any treasure found would have to be divided by 3. Johnny agreed to those terms, and we met him up at the field after school. I'll tell you what, it was a good job we brought our machetes with us, because we had to cut our way through a lot of bramble and brush to get down to the entrance of this large dome-shaped cave. It was down low in the ground, and there was water at the bottom of the cave. We estimated it was about 4 feet deep. But across that water, on the opposite wall of the cave, was a tunnel. Larry and I knew we had to figure out a way to get across the water and find out what was at the end of that tunnel. So we did a little bit more measuring and excavating, and decided to call it a day and return the following evening with the necessary equipment. Well, we figured we needed a long, sturdy plank of wood that would get us across the water. And we needed torches. Do you know, like the ones in the movies, sticks with rags tied around the ends of them. And gasoline, because there was no way those torches shone so brightly in the movies without some sort of accelerant. And we got ourselves 2 new recruits, brothers Morris and Patrick Lean. We had used them on several other missions, and the magnitude of this one just warranted their participation. I mean, like, for all we knew, we were going to be wrestling a band of leprechauns for a pot of gold at the end of that tunnel. And let me tell you, farmer's son Johnny Kane was not the kind of muscle you'd want with you in a dark alley late at night. Let it known a dark cave up against a band of leprechauns. So we headed up the field the following evening, laden with our supplies. Johnny Kane was not pleased to see the Leans. He knew it was going to reduce his take. But Larry started telling him about the band of leprechauns, and how leprechauns like to pluck the fingernails off their victims, which is the truth. But then he started exaggerating and saying how they like to pluck some other appendages off their victims. And you know what, it worked. Johnny wasn't long coming round. I guess he figured he'd sacrifice a few gold nuggets to save his own nuggets. He was no fool, Johnny. So we took the plank of wood and we placed it across the water, and it lodged between 2 rocks nice and secure. We stood at the edge of the water and we readied our torches. We took the sticks and we wrapped the rags around them, and we poured generous amounts of gasoline on the rags. And one by one we walked that plank and crawled through that tunnel, and we emerged into another dome-shaped cave. We lit a couple of the torches, and we could see there were multiple tunnels emanating from this cave. So we split into 2 groups, Larry and I as team leads, and headed down 2 of those tunnels and emerged into yet more caves. However, by this time, our torches, they were completely spent. They didn't work like they did in the movies at all. And here we find ourselves in this maze of tunnels and caves in pitch black darkness. And let me tell you, we're getting pretty spooked. So we shout down to each other and agree it's time to evacuate. So we head out through the tunnels and the caves across the plank. Patrick Lean is the first to cross. I'm right behind him. Farmer's son Johnny Kane is right on my heels. My brother Larry, he's nonchalantly walking across the plank. He takes the last drag out of his cigarette and throws it in the water, and the whole cave goes up in flames. Larry leaps through the flames to safety, but meanwhile, Morris is across the plank. And as far as we're concerned, we're never going to see him alive again. His brother Patrick starts bawling, crying, and he shouts out, "Goodbye, Morris." And he has barely spoken those words, but the flames completely subside. We look across the plank. There's Morris, sitting at the edge of the tunnel. Yeah, he's pale, he's shaken, he's peed his pants, but he's completely unharmed. Whoa, jeez, I mean, it took us a while to figure out what the hell had just happened. We had obviously poured more gasoline on the bloody water than we did on our torches, and that's what had caused the big inferno. Although it wasn't lucrative, Larry and I chalked it up as a very successful mission, and we swore to each other we'd use flashlights in lieu of torches on our next adventure. Thank you.